Welcome back to another session in Pastoral Ministry 401. In this presentation, we will examine illness stages in pastoral ministry. Illness is a reality, and all people face it. As ministers, it's essential to be prepared to offer spiritual and emotional guidance during these difficult times. Now, let's talk about what you will learn. You will learn the 5 stages of illness and what a minister can do in each stage to help alleviate some of the suffering of those that are in his congregation or community. Now let's get started with the presentation. On this slide, we will look at the first 3 stages of illness, and then we'll cover the last 2 on the next slide. Number 1 is the private stage. This is the period where only the individual knows that something is wrong. They may wrestle with this for weeks or even months, internalizing their feelings and not sharing them with anyone else. They suffer in private. This can be a very difficult time in a person's life as they are trying to determine what to do next, how to do it, and who to bring into the conversation. And remember, they're coursing this journey alone. Then there's the public stage. During this time, the individual begins to tell family members, friends, and perhaps a minister. The minister will find out at this public stage only if the relationship between the patient and the minister is strong. If the minister has not developed a strong personal commitment and relationship of trust with the individual, then he will likely hear about it from someone else within the person's circle of friends or family. Then there's the testing and diagnostic stage. At this point, the patient makes contact with a physician, psychiatrist, or counselor. This stage involves determining what is really wrong. The individual shares their symptoms with a professional, who then usually proceed with testing. Following the tests, a diagnosis can be made. Now, on this slide, we will talk about the treatment stage. After moving from the private stage to the public stage and then to the testing and diagnostic stage, the individual is ready for the treatment stage. A diagnosis has been made, and now they move into the phase of treating the illness. At this point, anxiety may be relieved, as the person might discover that their illness is not as serious as initially feared, offering hope that everything will be okay in time. However, there may not always be hope in the effectiveness of the treatment. The illness could be so severe that no treatment can really help, which may heighten their anxiety. Additionally, the treatment itself may be painful, as you may have witnessed with those suffering from cancer. Sometimes the treatment seems worse than the disease. Treatment can be painful, it can be embarrassing, and humiliating. There can be the loss of hair, burns from radiation on some parts of one's body, or weakness from chemotherapy. All of this can cause this to be an extremely difficult stage, and it can provide some great challenges. Therefore, the treatment stage is not necessarily a place of relief. On this slide, we will look at the 5th stage, the recovery stage. We have now reached this 5th stage of an illness. It is a stage where there may be anxiety about letting go of the illness. At this point, the individual needs to decide whether to accept the illness and move forward with life, or allow it to continue to handicap them. In this stage, a person may recognize that they're still a whole person, needing to recover that sense of a full life. However, there can be frustration in dealing with the limitations caused by the illness, such as losing a limb, losing their vision, or other capacities. The consequences of the illness may limit travel or other activities, creating further frustration. In some cases, a patient may wish to remain in a handicapped state to continue receiving care and attention from others. This may seem strange to us, but when someone is ill, the spotlight is on them, with focused attention from the medical community, their family, their friends, and all of this makes it hard to step out of that role. What can a minister do in each of the 5 stages of illness? Well, let's look at them individually. In the private stage, you may not know what illness or difficulty the person is facing. However, this is a time for the minister to pray for their congregation. It was my practice to pray for every church member every week, often kneeling at the altar in the sanctuary and praying for each member by name. I was aided by a deacon care group ministry which provided weekly reports on every church member, allowing me to pray specifically for individuals and their needs. There were deacon groups that worked with me to help me know what was going on in the church and where the needs were. I encourage you to have some sort of systematic plan for praying for your congregation. And then in the public stage, again, prayer is essential, along with offering support. Be present, show you love them and that you care for them, and let them know you are committed to walking with them through their illness, no matter how long it takes. Then the testing and diagnostic stage. During this particular time, continue to pray, but also add comfort and support for both the individual and don't forget their family. They need your care as well. And then in the treatment stage, offer prayer, encouragement, and here's the biggie, offer hope. Every person needs to cling to hope regardless of how dire the circumstances may be. And then the recovery stage. Pray and help the person let go of the illness. Letting go means accepting the illness, perhaps as a part of their new reality, while continuing to live fully as a person created in the image of God. In pastoral ministry, dealing with illness is an inevitable part of what you are called to do. As we have discussed, there are different stages of illness that individuals go through, each presenting unique needs and opportunities for ministry. By offering prayer, comfort, support, encouragement, and hope, a minister can significantly impact the lives of those facing illness. Remember, the role of a minister is not only to provide spiritual guidance, but also to be a source of strength and compassion, walking alongside individuals through their darkest times. May you be equipped and encouraged to serve faithfully, knowing that God uses your ministry to bring His peace and presence to those in need. I pray that God will use you effectively as you provide pastoral ministry, encountering illnesses, surgeries, and even death. May God use you in a powerful way. This ends the presentation.